Welcome to Front Office Pros. Today, we're going to be talking about some 2025 IDP breakouts to watch out for.
Hike!
In this episode, we're going to be talking about two each. So, Joe, who's your first one?
Yeah, first player I'm going to go with is Chop Robinson from the Miami Dolphins. He was a rookie this year coming out of Penn State. Really known for, his speed rush. So part of the reason I think he's a potential breakout guy is if he continues to develop some additional pass rush moves. I know that was kind of one of your concerns, Steve, but I think he had a pretty solid year in his rookie year here as far as, he had 10 assisted tackles, 16 solo tackles, 6 sacks. He also had 42 hurries, which is pretty decent for a rookie. Played all 17 games. And as far as the Miami Dolphins go at the edge rusher position, they do have guys like Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, but they've already shown that they're just unreliable. They can't stay healthy. So I think despite those guys on the roster, I think there's still plenty of playing time there for Chop Robinson. And, you just can't teach speed, but what you can teach is those additional pass rush moves. And I think he kind of reminds me, I'm wondering if he could have that similar trajectory too, like Nick Bonito, because that was kind of his thing coming out of Oklahoma, and you just see it. He beats a lot of tackles with his speed, and just curious if we can continue to see those sack numbers climb as we see with the 42 hurries that he can get to the quarterback. And we know sacks are just hard to come by, and they fluctuate from year to year, and they're kind of unpredictable. So looking for him to possibly get to the double digits in the second year.
Yeah, I would be curious. My only thing with this pick is, first off, I think Jalen Phillips is a free agent. So do the Dolphins bring him back, for one? For two, you've got Bradley Chubb recovering from an ACL. So Chop has been really good this year, but part of that has been the opportunity snaps he's received due to them both not being in the picture. If both of them are healthy to start the year, does that change things? Does that make it so that Chop Robinson does not have as many snaps on the field to be able to get the stats he's getting? Maybe he's earned that starting job. Time will tell.
Yeah. I mean, even if they start, it's just a matter of how many games are these guys going to play. Bradley Chubb he's always kind of been injured in his career, even dating back to his time in Denver. So, yeah, it will be interesting. But looks like as far as Jalen Phillips goes, he's actually got a club option for this year and would be a UFA in 2026.
So they accepted his fifth-year option, and they're on the hook for the full guarantee.
That would be correct. Yep.
Oof. Not good for the Dolphins. So he'll be there. Chubb will be there. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah,
but he might be the most dynamic guy.
Yeah, I think he's very dynamic, and both of those guys are going to be recovering from, season-ending injuries as well.
So the first player I'm going to be talking about is a favorite of mine. I seem to talk about him quite a bit, but I think he's only on the rise. And that's going to be defensive end, sometimes maybe referred to as defensive tackle, Keion White of the New England Patriots. Had a fantastic year this year, took a next step forward, I should say. 56 total tackles, 31 of them being solo, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and 30 hurries. Now, what's interesting about Keion White is towards the end of the year, it sounded like he was quite disgruntled. Him and Gerard Mayo didn't get along. I believe in the media, he came out and said he misses a guy like Bill Belichick who used to coach him hard. That's what he liked, and he missed it. Well, now Mike Vrabel is going to be the head coach of the New England Patriots, and I honestly can't think of a better guy for Keion White. You're talking about someone who's going to really push him to excellence, and he's a defensive-minded head coach, and this is what Keion White wanted. So to me, I think that he could only get more out of Keion White. He took this next step. I think he could go even higher. Not to mention, we just see what the Patriots do in the draft. Right now, I mean, the opposite end there is Anthony Jennings. He's okay. He's nothing that I wouldn't say is that stellar. Do they draft a pass rusher? It's a much stronger defensive draft. They already have Drake May in the fold. They're not going to be drafting a quarterback. Maybe they draft a receiver. I don't know. But, do they draft a guy like Abdul Carter, who has been a menace at Penn State? Could you imagine him and Keion White? My goodness. I mean, it would be dangerous. So I think Keion White, we're starting to see him kind of accelerate his career. I think he's going to really take off next year.
Yeah, I could definitely see that, and I think Christian Barmore should be back as well. Which will be a big help in the interior of the defense.
You sure?
No, he won't.
No, because he's been dealing with those blood clots, and he was on the field, and then he was off the field, and then he was on it again, and then they took him off again. I don't know. That might be a career ender.
Interesting.
That's the sense I got, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't necessarily get that sense. I would be kind of that'd be interesting, I guess.
I think it's a wait and see approach right now with Christian Barmore, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it nevertheless, like if Christian Barmore is there though, that's just another force in the interior. That's just only going to help the outside pass rush guys like Keion White and mentioned Anthony Jennings, and we'll see what else they do there.
Are you enjoying this episode so far? Well, if you are, subscribe to our YouTube channel, smash that like button, and hit the notification bell for upcoming videos. We do videos throughout the year, so you're not going to want to miss what we have in store. So, Joe, who is your second IDP breakout?
I'm going to go with another rookie, and I'm going to go with Byron Murphy. He had 24 solo tackles. 24 assisted tackles, 12 solo tackles, half a sack, and 20 hurries in 14 games. Part of the reason I like him is he didn't get a whole lot of playing time in his rookie year here, and that was due to the heavy rotation. But I did see Jer'Zhan Reed as an upcoming UFA on that defensive line. So, yes, they could fill in another guy, but Jer'Zhan Reed has kind of been a mainstay for that defense, but currently sits as one less guy for the rotation, so should clear a pathway for Byron Murphy, at least for the moment, to have additional snaps. And I think just the crucial thing is you saw he did get the 20 hurries as a rookie in the 14 games that he did play, and that's what you want to see from an interior guy is does he have the ability to get you the sacks to really put him over the top at the defensive tackle position. And to me, Byron Murphy is one of those players.
Yeah, I think you might be a year early with Byron Murphy. I think it might be the year after. Defensive tackles can take a while to develop, but he's got all the skills, and he has the pass rush ability to be a top defensive tackle. So I definitely could see what you're saying. I think he could be a breakout.
Yeah, could be a year early. Typically we do see the 3 years it takes for a lot of these defensive tackles, but it could happen this year. Mike McDonald's got a pretty good defensive scheme there, and the defensive line for the Seattle Seahawks was a strong point, especially with Leonard Williams. So, and I think he'll be back. I know Spotrac says they've got an out for him this year if they want, but they'd have to eat $16 million in dead cap and it'd be a $13 million savings. So I think he'll be back.
Yeah, I don't think so either, and that only helps him by having a guy like Leonard Williams next to him. And they've got some interesting edge rushers too with Boye Mafe, Derek Hall, Uchenna Nwosu. They've got options. So my second player that I think is going to be an IDP breakout in 2025, another one of my favorites, Joe, defensive tackle Jer'Zhan Newton of the Washington Commanders. He had 44 total tackles, 19 solo, 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, and 12 hurries over 16 games. Now, at the beginning of the year, he dealt with a foot injury, believes it was a Jones fracture, had to recover that. So he missed some vital training camp snaps. He's now having the opportunity of playing quite a bit due to the fact that Jonathan Allen went on IR for the season. And if you look at Jonathan Allen, coming up here in next season, he'll be 30 years old. He's got $22.47 million cap hit. But if they went ahead and cut him, post June 1st, they would save $16 million. Pre-June 1st, doesn't matter, it's still $16.4 million. It's a lot of money. They already got Deron Payne. I know they covered Arian Mathis. So it is to see, I might be a year early on this. I think it could be the following year where Newton truly breaks out. But the thing about Newton is, and one of the reasons why I liked him was his pass rush ability. he really has a knack of getting after the quarterback. He showed it in Illinois. The biggest thing that was a knock against him was that injury that he sustained, and he wasn't able to truly be a part of, I think, the combine process, the pro day process, for teams to really get enamored with his ability. So unfortunately, because of that, I think he slid. But I think he's going to be a good player in the league, and I think he can take that jump next year.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. It'll be interesting to see. We both went with guys heading into their second year. Your guy doesn't have as much, didn't have as many hurries, but he did have 1.5 more sacks. So it'll be curious to see if these guys can kind of do the second year breakout, or does it take like we normally see that extra third year?
So that does it for this episode. We talked about a few players that we think are going to be some 2025 IDP breakouts. Make sure you have them on your team so you can take advantage. Thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time.